Most people think Italy is becoming impossible. Rome is expensive. Florence is overrun. The Amalfi Coast feels like it's been priced for people who already have money. And even small Italian towns now cost more than most people's monthly salary just to rent an apartment. But here's the strange part. There are still countries where you can get the Italian lifestyle. The cafes, the old stone towns, the slow mornings, the food culture, the architecture, for almost 60% less. And most people have absolutely no idea they exist. Today, I'm showing you 4 countries that feel shockingly Italian, but cost a fraction of what people are paying across Italy in 2026. And the final country might be the biggest loophole in Europe right now. But this time we're going deeper, because living cheaply is one thing. Actually building a life there is something completely different. So I'm also going to show you how foreigners, expats and digital nomads are actually making money in these countries right now, not just surviving on savings. Let's start with the one that might be the most underrated country on the entire continent. Most people can't find Slovenia on a map, and that's exactly why it's still affordable. Drive 20 minutes from Trieste, Italy, and you cross into a country that looks like it was cut from the same cloth. The same red rooftops, the same Adriatic light, the same cafe culture spilling onto cobblestone squares. Towns like Piran sit right on the coast and could be mistaken for a sleepier, less crowded version of Cinque Terre. Ljubljana, the capital, has canals, riverside cafes, and an old town core that feels like someone took Italy's charm and forgot to tell the rest of the world it was there. And then you check the prices. A one-bedroom apartment runs €500 to €750 a month, which on its own can run slightly over budget if you're set on living right in central Ljubljana. But head to the coastal towns instead, where rent drops, and pair that with a €10 to €15 sit-down meal habit, and your total monthly spend lands right around $700. Rent, food, coffee, everything included. What makes Slovenia different from a lot of hidden gem destinations is that nothing here feels unfinished. The infrastructure is European standard. The trains run on time. Healthcare is reliable. It's already in the EU and the Schengen zone, so there's no visa maze if you're coming from another EU country. And even outside that, the process is straightforward. And here's where it gets interesting for anyone thinking about actually moving, not just visiting. Slovenia has quietly become a base for remote software developers, EU-facing freelancers, and small e-commerce operators who use its EU membership to sell across the entire European market without the bureaucracy of operating from somewhere like the UK post-Brexit. Some foreigners are running online consulting or coaching businesses priced in euros or dollars while paying Slovenian rent, meaning their income stretches almost twice as far as it would back home. The people moving here now are the ones who got tired of waiting for Italy to make sense financially and realized they didn't have to wait at all. If Europe isn't far enough, Uruguay is what happens when Italian culture quietly takes root 8,000 kilometers away. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, waves of Italian immigrants poured into Uruguay, so many that today nearly half the population has Italian ancestry. You feel it everywhere. The food, the way people eat dinner absurdly late, the unhurried, almost Mediterranean attitude toward time. Walk through Montevideo's old town, Ciudad Vieja, and you'll see crumbling, beautiful European-style buildings, espresso bars on every corner, and pasta on menus that rivals anything you'd find in Rome. Then there's Punta del Este and the quieter coastal towns nearby, where the Atlantic does a convincing impression of the Mediterranean on a good day. And the cost of living here is where it gets interesting. A comfortable apartment runs $500 to $700 a month. Same situation as Slovenia. This works if you're not trying to live right in central Punta del Este, where prices climb toward the resort town end of that range. Stay just outside it in Montevideo or the smaller coastal towns. And groceries, transport and eating out are cheap enough that your full monthly cost of living comfortably sits at $700. Uruguay also offers something most of this list can't: genuine political and economic stability. It's consistently ranked as one of the safest, most stable democracies in all of Latin America. No coups, no currency collapses every few years, no chaos. On the income side, Uruguay has become a quiet hub for foreigners freelancing for US and European clients, running Airbnb-style rental businesses in the coastal towns during tourist season, or working remotely in finance and tech while taking advantage of Uruguay's territorial tax system, meaning income earned outside the country isn't taxed locally, which is a major reason retirees and remote earners specifically choose Uruguay over its neighbors. For people who want the relaxed Italian-coded lifestyle but are nervous about safety or instability elsewhere in Latin America, Uruguay quietly removes that worry too. That's 2 countries down, both flying almost completely under the radar. But the next 2 on this list take things even further because one of them is still inside the EU, and prices haven't even started catching up yet. There's a specific feeling people describe when they first arrive in North Macedonia, and almost everyone who writes about it uses the same word: disorienting. You walk through the old stone streets of Ohrid beside a massive blue lake surrounded by medieval churches and mountains. It looks like somewhere in southern Italy or Greece. Every visual signal says this should cost southern European money. Then the bill arrives, a coffee for €1.20, a full meal for €7, and something just doesn't add up. Financially, people consistently describe North Macedonia as feeling like Europe did 15 years ago, and that is not an exaggeration. Modern apartments in cities like Skopje or Ohrid rent for €250 to €450 a month. The old towns are genuinely beautiful. The lake is one of the most underrated views on the entire continent. The food is excellent. And unlike some cheap destinations where low price means obvious compromise, the quality of life here is high across the board. What makes North Macedonia particularly compelling right now is timing. Mass tourism hasn't fully arrived yet. This is the version of Europe people wish they had discovered before Croatia exploded in price and popularity a decade ago. The foreigners moving here now are acutely aware of that timing. Remote workers are choosing North Macedonia because ultra-low living costs allow them to work fewer hours online while maintaining a dramatically better lifestyle than they had back home. And if North Macedonia continues its path toward EU integration, property values and tourism numbers here could shift significantly over the next decade. The final country on this list might be the single smartest move of all 4, because unlike the others, this one is already inside the European Union. Romania is what happens when a country modernizes faster than the world notices. And in 2026, most of the world still hasn't noticed. That gap between what Romania actually is and what people still assume it is the opportunity. Cities like Cluj-Napoca, Brașov, Sibiu, and parts of Bucharest now feel genuinely modern. And here's the detail that consistently surprises people the most. Romania's internet speeds are among the fastest in all of Europe. Not fast for Eastern Europe, actually among the fastest on the entire continent. The kind of speeds that matter if you're running any kind of online business or remote career. Beautiful old architecture, walkable city centres, strong cafe culture, reliable infrastructure, co-working spaces packed with remote workers from across Europe. In certain neighborhoods, it feels like a cheaper version of Prague, before Prague became expensive, and the prices still haven't caught up. A modern apartment rents for €400 to €700 a month, depending on location. Groceries, restaurants, gyms, and entertainment are dramatically cheaper than Germany, France, or the Netherlands. Expats moving here consistently report cutting monthly expenses nearly in half, without feeling like they gave up any meaningful quality of life. Romania doesn't feel cheap in a compromised way. It feels efficient, like a country quietly upgrading itself while the rest of the world still operates on stereotypes from 15 years ago. The stability factor is also real, and it matters. EU protections, European standard infrastructure, safety, modern healthcare, and still dramatically lower costs than Western Europe. That combination is becoming genuinely rare, because most affordable countries force a compromise somewhere. Foreigners here are building careers in software development, AI startups, cybersecurity, digital marketing, freelancing, and e-commerce. Cluj specifically has attracted a serious wave of entrepreneurs because internet speeds are elite, while operating costs are a fraction of what the same business would cost in London, Amsterdam, or Berlin. Some people move here just to buy time, same savings 3 times as long. Others are buying property now, betting Romania is about to do what Poland did a decade ago, before everyone else catches on.